Yeah, cool. I'm Vibhu. I'm the interim CMO and Chief Product Officer of the Solana Foundation. If you don't know Solana, Solana is maybe like the fifth or sixth largest chain crypto network by market cap.
I always just say third and nobody questions it.
Oh, you do?
I always say third. I'm like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, everything else irrelevant. Get that on camera.
But yeah, we're a $50 billion network, and we host maybe like around the same $55, $60 billion of assets on the network as well. But what makes Solana unique is that people actually use our chain, and like in the last, I mean, basically every day, if you look at the total things that are happening in crypto, Solana is doing more than 2x all other networks combined. So it's really the network that stands out because people use it. That's the and agents, obviously, not just people, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Nikki. I'm the lead for Super Team USA. This is all very brand new here in Miami. We had our opening event 2 days ago. Shout out to Amy for throwing an absolute banger event. And now we're getting into the serious stuff, which is agentic payments. And Vibhu, thank you for flying here for this. We really appreciate it. Thank you to all our panelists who talked before this. Yes, on the Solana dominating volume, I think a lot of us are aware of that now. But now we've
So how many of you have used Solana? I'm curious. Oh, okay. Well, you guys. All right. Why my team? Who has not used Solana? Let me just.
All the time.
Never heard.
Okay. Well, cool. We can just end this. You guys can go. It's so shy. It's great. I have nothing to say. There's some cool stats like a network. So we process around 100 million transactions every single day, which is an insane amount. We're just about to hit our 500 billionth transaction on the network, probably sometime in the next 30 days or so, which is completely unprecedented. Just in the last 18 months alone, I think the total number of transactions on Solana is more than all other blockchains combined ever in all of history, just in the last 18 months. That's telling you a little bit about the scale of the network. It's really standing out. What else? I mean, we're basically number one or number two in most categories. The only other notable chain in most metrics is Ethereum, the actual L1. Last year, we've grown RWAs on the network, real world assets, by 10x. We're now number two behind Ethereum. We're number two in stablecoins. We have $18 billion of stablecoins on network, which is awesome because stablecoins are by far have the most product market fit in crypto. We are the fastest growing chain for payments. We've had total payment volume grow 600 or 700% in the last year. We're number one for agentic payments. We have 65% market share of agents using X402, which is a agentic payment standard, since January 1st this year. We've processed 15 million agentic payments since January 1st in 2026, which it's a small number in the scope of Solana, but that's more than most chains have done any transactions in this calendar year. We're kind of not only the most used chain, but also kind of the most general purpose and comprehensively used. We have efforts across all of the financial spectrum, and the banking side, and of course a lot of people. Who is trading meme coins? Yeah. So we also we like to think of it as the capital market for everything from fund to traditional assets, and I'm just shilling Solana to people that already use Solana. That's all I know how to do.
This is classic. Of course, all the Solana people show up. We needed a lot of you to be new and net new to make me look good. So next time we do a raise of hands, you have to pretend that you're not a Solana user.
And we're behind this for Team USA.
Put that on the Luma.
Yeah.
We need new Solana, non-Solana.
Yeah, if you hate Solana and don't use Solana, please come to our event. We'll do that for the next one. So I think what's interesting is obviously with the amount of volume and traction that Solana has, it begets more of that. But agents don't agents don't care about Solana's swag, right? They just want to use what is the most efficient for landing transactions. And now we're in sort of a new race because it's like that's where the technology layer becomes most important, right? Because an agent can use whatever is the most efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I think in theory, I spoke at the Digital Asset Summit yesterday on the main stage about AI and Solana, and there I said that this is the point we made, was like they're very cold and calculated, and they just want the most efficient thing. But that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, I'd say that in front of like a traditional audience, but in reality, the agents are also biased by similar things that humans are biased on, because they're trained by the data set that humans have created. So when like the first time I booted up OpenClaw, Zoe Computer, I asked it to create a wallet for me, a crypto wallet, so that I could see what it said. I didn't give it any prompts, or I thought I had, and it was like, cool, let's create a Solana wallet for you. And I was like, oh wow, like this is pretty insane. Like we have, done some mindshare. And then I asked it, I was like, why did you suggest Solana? And I was like, oh, well, you told me you work at the Solana Foundation. And I was like, oh shit, I'm cooked. And I was like, okay, if I hadn't worked at the foundation, what would you have wanted to create? And it was like, I probably would have suggested like either an Ethereum wallet or a base wallet. It really isn't as, like, you would think like it would never suggest Ethereum, because if you're going to pay for something, it's like you're paying a higher fee for no reason. But clearly, like, it also cares about provenance. Agents care about provenance and like the overall kind of like mind share in their model. So we still have, like, there's still work to do there for sure. But I would say like we're at least in the top three. I think you would almost always say Ethereum, base, and Solana if you're in the US. So it's a starting point, but we still need to figure out how to bias the model differently.
So you're saying the mind share still is just as important as the technology?
Yeah, and one of the super team members,
Jack.
Yeah, he was just showing me today, like you can like some of this dark art stuff that's happening, where companies are spinning up like tens of thousands of AI generated SEO pages that have like really specific topics, trying to load the LLM with stuff. We're looking into all that, and then. But I'd say like majority of our work stream isn't like trying to bias the model, but just make sure if people want to build on Solana or they know about Solana, that the agent can access resources really easily, and not spend like tons and tons of tokens trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, now you have me thinking, because the way I viewed this was purely technology and like not even thinking on the bias that an agent would have, where it's like, okay, the agents by default, and maybe I'm making a big assumption here, and it was talked about a little bit in the panel, but agents by default will choose blockchain for transacting. That was my understanding based on the technology side, but now, like, to your point, if blockchain has a worse mind share than traditional finance, do you think that an agent would choose traditional finance over blockchain?
Right. So today it will usually, if you just out of the box, you ask it, you say, hey, I want to buy this thing, and it's not a crypto thing, and doesn't know anything about crypto, it will suggest non-crypto ideas. So it will try to get you like some kind of virtual card, or like something, like it will kind of work around that. And then oftentimes you keep asking again, it will bring up crypto. So it's definitely, even like the industry narrative right now is that crypto is like solving like so many problems that for agents. But I think a lot of that's not really validated by like just going and asking your agent what it thinks. It's not, at least for me. Like it's obviously doing that if it knows anything at all about that you might be interested in crypto, it will give you a different set of options. What I'm hopeful for is that there's like two different things in agentic payments. I mean, there's one version, which is what most people will do. Like they're doing, my wife is doing like remodeling our deck with furniture, and she's using ChatGPT to do it. She's like visualizing it with ChatGPT, and then she's asking, okay, you'll find something that looks like this, and cool, give me a link, right? That stuff like crypto is not that useful for. Like it just, just one-off payments or whatever. There's nothing to do there. But so we're not. I don't think we're like competing for that. Like even like TradFi commerce volume wouldn't be that interesting for blockchains in terms of fee generation. What's more interesting is just like the one-off, like tiny transactions for APIs and for inference and for digital services. That's where like I think stablecoins and Sol might be quite useful, because if you're vibe coding a project today and it's like going out to provision like 50 APIs, to like put together some, I don't know, I was building a travel agent the other day, and like it wanted like a hotel booking API and a flight booking API and a weather API, and it's like had all these requests, and I had to, it's like a pain in the ass to go sign up for each one of those services and then give them a credit card and get an API key and all that kind of stuff. I think the like crypto has a really good solution here, which is just pay per request, and like whenever you access the weather API, just send them 1 cent for instead of this whole billing cycle. And that's like mostly what's those kind of things are what's driving the agentic payment volume. So we're really focused on like digital services, especially compute and inference, as the two like main things that agents want to pay for.
I'm still thinking about it with, maybe you have to correct me again, like I'm thinking about it in everyday purchases, right? Because it's like, we talk about like, MoonPay's new agentic payment feature. Like if you're purchasing things every day, like your agent has to have access to funds. Like giving an agent access to funds with TradFi is inherently way more difficult. I don't even understand how possible it is.
It's just that like it's not that that's not interesting. It's just that it's not going to generate a tremendous amount of on-chain transaction volume, because anything that you do as a human is like by default going to be like less spammy than what an agent would do. So I think it's just like the majority of the market for this is probably going to be agents paying for things that humans wouldn't pay for, right? And these are mostly driven by like people that are using codecs and cloud code for building and shipping production products. I don't like. I think if you added up all the humans on the planet doing what you're talking about, it would be like less than 1% of the total possible payments.
So now that you know what is the important market to win with agents, how do you go about actually winning that volume?
So not totally sure yet. We're already most of the market share for this, but the volume is too small to be super interesting yet. Our current plan, and we haven't. This is recorded, right? Are you posting this video?
The camera's right there. Are we posting it? Connor, are we posting the video?
We're recording it now. We can post it if you want or not.
Oh, okay.
We can always edit something out if you say something horrible.
Or something really good.
No, I don't want to like, because it's a really competitive category. Like, and like I said yesterday, like this to me, this is like we have to win this. Like this is existential. Like there's like something like 25 or 30 trillion dollars of like digital services that are being paid for every year, and like the small ones are the ones that matter for us. And so yeah, it is a strategic thing, and like we're still trying to figure it out, but we have some pretty good ideas. Like I think yeah, we'll see. Yesterday on stage I announced that we're building a agent payment gateway. I didn't say anything about how it works. The idea of the gateway is to simplify the merchant integration. Because today, if you want to accept stablecoins, it's as like any kind of merchant, including like an API provider. It's pretty difficult, and most companies don't want to do it. Like we've talked to OpenAI and like these kind of we have like, there's like crypto people that work at these companies, and even they are like, yeah, dude, it's just not a big of a priority for us, and it's too difficult. So the solution is to build a gateway that takes stablecoins into some kind of wrapper, and then pays fiat out to the merchants, and they don't have to know how the payment came in the first place. So this is kind of like an accounting problem in a way. It's just like and like a BD problem. And so our main thesis is we wanted to have access to things to pay for that like people actually are using, because most of the stuff that people are building in agentic payments is fully bullshit type of stuff. Like it's things that like only crypto people, like very niche crypto people would ever think about. But there's a whole category of APIs that are processing billions of requests per year that people outside of crypto want to use, and we're focused on enabling those and like bringing stablecoin payments and SOL payments to that category. I don't want to say too much though. Like we're gonna probably announce the full version of this at Solana Accelerate USA, which is in Miami on May 5th.
Yeah, we're gonna have an event here the day before Accelerate and the day after. So follow the Super Team Luma for both of those. You mentioned like having the transactions execute for like the vendor on the other side in fiat is like not part of the battle. Having these vendors have a demand for stablecoins and wanting to accept stablecoins.
Well, we're circumventing that because we're just giving them fiat, so they don't have to know about what the crypto people are doing. They just get a credit card or like a wire or whatever.
It feels like not giving up in a way, but it's sort of like rolling over. It's like okay, like they prefer to get paid this way. But
no, it's just an alternative way to do ramping, basically, like off ramping, right? We're just facilitating that on their behalf. That's why they're called facilitators, or that's like the industry term for this. Have you Spend Shop? That's a Solana company. Okay, like this is a consumer version of this. So
Spend reaches out to me. We've talked about they want to do super team stuff. So sorry, Spend, I have not actually used it.
Yeah, SP3ND. So they basically like you have a Phantom wallet or whatever, and you have stable coins in there.
Or Soulflare.
Yeah, and then or Soulflare, yeah, sure.
Or OKX.
Yeah, dude, OKX wallet has huge market share in Solana. People don't know this. It's like number 3 behind the Soulflare and Phantom. Yeah, so you have a wallet, any wallet, okay, with USDC balance, and then when you go to Amazon, they've got like I might be describing the product wrong because it's involved with it, but it's like a plugin in your browser, and then when you add to cart and you go to buy something, it takes the stable coins out, and then it like brute forces a credit card payment into Amazon and like ships you the product. Like, so this is like a very crude facilitator, right? Like it's using what they want to receive, but someone is sitting in the middle and just charging you a fee for doing that like instantaneous ramping, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Do you want to keep going on this topic, or do you want to open up to questions for a little bit?
Yeah, whatever.
You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, whatever. Does anyone have any questions for Vibhu here? If you have a question for me, I'll take it, but I gotta imagine you want to talk to Viv before he goes back home. Yes, sir.
Please explain more about on-ramping and off-ramping to the on-ramps.
Yeah, I mean, MoonPay was just here. I would say this is like the biggest challenge with crypto generally, is like it's still too difficult to move between your bank account or any form of fiat into crypto. And it's hard because at a certain limit, $500 or whatever, you need KYC, and then it's other levels, and the other types of, like, there's regulatory issues, it's slow, there's a lot of trust required. So, the most interesting thing that's happened here is the SoFi Solana integration that they did recently. SoFi is the first regulated chartered bank to allow you to have crypto sitting alongside your bank account funds and move between them without an exchange. This is pretty cool. Most people have most of their money in their bank account, so they're kind of circumventing the exchange. Unfortunately, right now you can't withdraw, so you can buy Sol or Bitcoin and just let it sit there and then send it back. But I know they're working on letting you take it out as well. But like this project we're doing with the API facilitator is effectively an off ramp. It's just in like a more abstract way, and we're always looking for ideas like that because these are like disruptive mechanisms to legally transact between crypto and non-crypto. But yeah, it's not an area. It's not an area that startups are tackling because it's like extremely expensive to become a regulated money transfer business.
You got in the red. Yep.
Hi, Vibhu. Congratulations on your promotion from mid-tier manager to big boss.
By the way, Jess coined the term mid-tier manager. She was arguing with me on the internet, like we do, and she tried to dunk on me, and then became a whole thing, went viral, and it's quite funny.
I do have a real question. But first off, congrats as head of product of Solana Foundation. As head of product, what are the 3 top priorities for the foundation for the next 12 months? You mentioned agentic payments, obviously that's one, but I'd love to hear the top 3 and obviously your take as head of product.
Okay. Yeah, so the product team is new at the foundation. We never had a product team before that worked the way we do. It's a first-party products team. So we're actually hosting stuff. In the past version of the foundation was only doing open source public goods. And coming this year, we felt like there's some gaps in the ecosystem that we could uniquely cover. Since then, we've launched 2 products into production. First one is @tokens, so you can follow @tokens on X. That's our new account, and it's a combination of a breaking news account similar to Polymarket and Kelshi, with a landing page for high quality assets that exist in a tokenized version on Solana. And then we have an API that we're attaching to that lets you get like the top 300 or 400 assets on Solana that are tied to real things like gold and equities and such. This week on Tuesday, we launched our second product, which is the Solana Developer Platform, SDP, and that is a set of enterprise APIs that like orchestrate between many different providers, like from custody, even I think MoonPay's in there, to foreign exchange, and basically lets banks or traditional companies easily launch stablecoins or other regulated assets that have permissioned capabilities. So Solana is, when you guys buy meme coins, that's one version of a token, which is a freely tradable thing that its value is entirely represented on chain. But when banks launch assets on chain, they have controls on it, so they can freeze those tokens in your wallet, or they have a lot of regulatory things to kind of follow. And the meme coin side is very well covered on Solana. The regulated side isn't, so we've been building products there. And that product is mostly APIs, and it's like you can have skills, you can point cloud code at it, and then it will like know how to launch a stablecoin, which is pretty dope. So my priorities basically, I'd say, is like number one, and like overwhelmingly number one, like probably like 80% of it is just AI and AI readiness. It's just it's the only thing that matters, in my opinion, like to figure out the next 2 years. And that's, DevX, so like just a lot of APIs, like just as many bespoke APIs as possible. And then beyond AI, tokenization, I'd say, generally speaking. We're still in this like mega tokenization bull cycle that's not materializing in our token prices yet, but like you just go and like every single day, there's like a new, GSIB bank, whatever, announcing tokenized products. I mean, we're really close to bringing like NASDAQ, NYSE, derivatives from trad markets on chain in a really big way. That's not like alpha about Solana, just in general in the industry. And so like supporting those efforts is mission critical for us. There's probably going to be like, right now we're at like $300 or $400 billion in stable coins and distributed RWAs. I would say like in 2 years we'll probably be at like 10x that number, like probably $3 or $4 trillion on chain. So, and Solana has to play a big role in that. That's what we're pretty focused on. And then trading is the other one. So like Solana is losing on perps right now pretty badly. We're getting our ass kicked by Hyperliquid. Everybody knows that in crypto. But at the same time, we're dominating in spot markets. We have like the most liquid spot markets in the world for crypto assets today. If you want to buy Bitcoin on chain or Ethereum, it's better to buy it on Solana than it is on an exchange. And it's better to buy ETH on Solana than to buy ETH on ETH, which is pretty insane innovation of the last year because of the advanced markets that we have. And so our team is also trying to figure out how we can take those like spot market innovations and then bring them into an institutional context. Those are my top three, I'd say.
One of the next question. I'll be Diony. You already asked a bunch of questions tonight. We're gonna start hiring you as an audience plant going forward. Because you ask great questions, you sit in the front, but let's get Diony first and then go to you.
Hey, Vibhu. So I was listening to your thesis, and so I was thinking like, so I guess is your thesis basically is your bet like that there's going to be so much agentic action in the next like 5-10 years that it's just going to dwarf people's transactions, right? So as people start onboarding to AI, start asking AI to do things, then the agentic executions are going to be much more voluminous than people, right? And if so, where does the Solana token play in that? Like, say you manage an agent, would you have to buy Solana, or is it just like an underlayer stack where the agent swaps the fiat currency into Solana and then does the transaction and it comes back as fiat, and the user ideally is not supposed to know any of this, and it's just supposed to be just money in their account.
So you're asking if all this stuff will pump the token, is that?
No, not right, I'm not sure. That's not the idea. I'm really just asking about like what's
your question is a good question, not for the reason you expect, but like it is a hard question to answer because you said debate like are crypto networks like Xbox and PlayStation like where like like you have brand affinity for the platform as well as the games on top of it, or is it more like I don't know, Swift, where like you don't really care about that side and just kind of does some financial thing? I tweeted yesterday that's I think in 2 years 99.99% of on-chain transactions will be emanating from either agents or LLM-based wallets where the human is not signing a transaction, but their agent is. I think that is like probably a little too bearish because it's probably like more like 1 in 100,000 or less transactions will be human in 2 years. And I say this very confidently because this is kind of low-hanging fruit prediction to me because the vast majority of on-chain stuff already is driven by bots and by AI and also in traditional markets as well. Like majority of volume is not humans going into their brokerage account and clicking a buy button. It is like a lot of market making, automated market making, a lot of arbitrage, a lot of high frequency trading, which is like trading like tiny ticks. So like it's probably already like pretty close to 99% of on-chain activity is non-human. I think the leap to the next phase is that people are already basically offloading the trust part of their brain to their AI. They don't want to do something without consulting ChatGPT. And I think that's like, it's just inevitable to me that they're going to take that same framework to their financial life, and especially crypto users. Like I think basically like hitting a button is going to be a very like ultra niche thing to do. Like you're gonna, if you're trying to do some trading strategy on chain, you're just gonna prompt something, or you're gonna have someone else's strategy, and it's gonna just kind of run for you. And the reason that it will be such a high percentage is that those kinds of strategies will just generate a lot more total number of transactions. Why is this important for us? Because, okay, even if you don't know about Sol, but you're using the Solana network to do these things, you're buying Tesla on Solana, for example, you're paying fees in Sol. Like that's our requirement to get anything on chain, access any state on chain. But also, more importantly, Sol is the most liquid asset on the Solana network, and so when you're usually when you're buying, if you're buying a meme coin or whatever, the underlying trading pair is a Farcoin Sol liquidity pool or whatever, right? And so Sol gets locked up in those, and it becomes basically like liquidity for servicing these markets with the best pricing. So yeah, I think like the base case is the transactions themselves, but the big win is the Sol is like the underlying liquidity for all the markets that people are accessing.
Yes, my next question has to do with Federal Reserve and FedNow. FedNow is kind of like a central bank digital currency that also has a series of rules and regulations that are set up by the Federal Reserve. Now, my question is, how does SuperPay and the Solana platform relate to FedNow?
Yeah, that's above my pay grade, man. I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry.
Look into FedNow, the Federal
Yeah.
Reserve.
I think we're pretty far. I mean, we have a lot of stuff to do before we get to the Fed. Yeah.
All right.
The Federal
You are
Reserve.
the man. Absolutely. We're bringing you to all events going forward. All right. I'm gonna do this 3 lap. Start with Steph, then LinkedIn, then you, and then we'll call it out. We'll call it from there.
So you mentioned like the pay-per-use for AI agents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, are you trying to like facilitate the lineage between the two? Like if you have an API service and they don't want to like pay for the subscription, like AI agents, and they want to do like pay-per-use with stablecoin, are you facilitating that? And what's stopping companies like to provide that service for AI agents to purchase directly on a pay-per-use?
Yeah, okay, so the question was, are we providing this pay-per-use service for these API providers, and then what's stopping them from offering this themselves? So on the first question, the answer is yes, that is how most of these facilitators are working. So if you have stable coins, they're sitting in front of the API, letting you pay 1 cent, 2 cents for a request. Second question is, what's stopping from doing this? Well, most APIs already are pay-per-use. If you're using AWS, like you're paying for the exact resource that you're using, right? But you're getting billed like net 30. You have, you got a KYC with them, put your billing details in. Like it has to be done by a human today. The thing that makes this interesting for us is that these companies are pretty open to basically, I don't want to reveal too much, but like you should be able to just like pay exactly for the thing you want without any of that account setup. And there are people working on, I just saw there was some, maybe Stripe, I think, like rolled out something where you can, like they'll go out and like auto set up like an account and a bunch of services for you. So there are like people kind of building that, but unfortunately, like it's not compatible with the business model and with the billing systems that these companies have. It's not that they couldn't do it, it's going to take quite a while for them to update. And then even then, like this is not how credit card, like it's super inefficient to do this with credit cards because you're going to pay your 30-cent base minimum fee plus the 2.5%, 3% fee as well on top of that. And these API calls are like sometimes like even less than a cent. It might be like a tenth of a cent. So like credit cards just can't do that. But on Solana you can. You can pay for something that's 1/10 or 1/100th of a cent. So I do think this is a radically enabling tech in some ways. Do you disagree with what I just said?
I agree with you, but why are companies like putting that?
I think they will. We're just this is a transitionary phase because they're still afraid of stablecoins. Yeah, and like we're hoping, okay, cool. Hey, guess what? Like there's like millions of requests per day in stablecoins for your stuff. Why don't we work together on like doing this natively so that we don't have to be in between. That's the end state.
You need microservices to go along with your micropayments.
What's that?
You need microservices to go along with your micropayments. So the service providers need to be able to have some sort of microservice instead of account service that they would provide. So if I want a Netflix movie, can I just get 20 minutes of that movie until I'm done watching it?
I mean, wouldn't that be cool to pay per like second as you were watching a show, and then when you decide you don't like it anymore, cool, you kind of stop paying for it. I kind of think that like a lot of the business model of the internet, and this is not a unique thought, but has evolved around the constraints of how payments work today. Is like there's pretty much only a couple of things that you can do. But I mean, we have streaming payments on Solana. You can stream per second, like send it to somebody. So yeah, the next 10 years will be pretty cool.
I'm losing control of this massively chaotic room here. We're getting call outs now. I'll remember that. Lincoln.
Okay, so your focus over the next 2 years primarily is agents. What do you say? So
AI readiness.
Yeah. You're growing. Okay, so what is the one thing that you think the broader AI community is underestimating with Solana outside of total volume and liquidity and speed?
I mean, they don't even know about Solana yet. I mean, that's like we're like really early on this stuff. Like that's why we're here. Like that's like honestly, that's the entire point of Super Team USA and like things like this is like, hey, there's some cool stuff going on in like a universe that you don't know about yet. And I think like I'm hoping that see the thing is like it takes a lot of education to like understand why programmatic finance is interesting. And even if you're like a very deep technologist, first of all, you're skeptical of anything in crypto, I won't talk to you. And then second, like the use cases that we've come up with as an industry that are interesting are like just really hard to grok, you know. And there's a lot of legacy infrastructure, you know, like it seems very obvious to me that like Uber should be doing payouts and stablecoins to everybody because it's okay, we're paying out like millions of rides per day, and like why am I paying like have this like complex infrastructure to deliver that experience in every different currency? I should be able to just like send USDC anywhere in the world, do it entirely with software, and pay nothing for it. Very obvious idea. The lift to get there is just like, I don't know, like it seems like insurmountable in some ways. Yeah, like I guess like what I do feel good about is that this coming into this year, for the first time, I felt like there was more of a collision path between our industries, and we're like living these like parallel universes in a way. Like what's happening in AI is happening on Twitter in a way. And guess what? Like, hey, like, it's been happening. That's like our industry space. You know, we're really good at Twitter stuff, like as a crypto space, which is why also a lot of crypto founders are going viral in the AI circles. Like Sigil's Conway Research Project and things like that. Like, so I think there's starting to be like natural places where there's crossover. Yeah, there's still a lot of education that we need to do, and this Super Team USA is an important part of that.
Thank you.
Yep. Last one.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about DevX a little bit, but I was wondering if you guys have any new initiatives in plan for this year that would make it easier to onboard more developers from other blockchain ecosystems to Solana, specifically from EVM. Like basically, if, as a full stack EVM developer, what can I expect? Who's considering like building on Solana now? What can I expect like this year to see that would make my job easier?
Yeah. So I would say like most of our major ecosystem teams are preparing for this with tons of new APIs, tons of new terminal programs. There's like terminal wallets now. Jupiter, our biggest exchange, just rolled out Jupiter CLI today, for example. And then skills, like we have an awesome skills, it's literally called Solana Awesome Skills repository on GitHub that can teach your LM about how to do almost everything in Solana. And there's tons of like people working on like, in Solana land, we don't have smart contracts, we call them programs, but like on audits and things like that. But like honestly, if I were trying to do this, I'd draw a plan and like I got criticized for saying this on stage yesterday that like the delta between EVM and SVM is just like shrinking because people are just asking their agent to do it, and the agent doesn't really care about where it is. And someone was saying like, oh, well, you don't have as much open source out there, and it's still not as good at that. And I think that's like pretty much false. Like I think like Solana has a huge developer community. Like there's tons and tons of resources out there for your LM to understand. The main difference is, I would say, like architecturally, because people build differently in SVM than they do on EVM. You're usually not building your own programs. You're usually accessing some of the standard ones that everyone's using. But like, I don't know, like we can chat and you can talk to our DevRel team and they'll point you in the right direction. Like you should be on Solana if you're not.
Cool, thank you.
All right, sweet guys. We're gonna wrap it up. Please give a round of applause for Vibhu today.